I know what you've probably been told your entire life. People have said that you're too sensitive. They told you to toughen up. You've probably heard countless times that you shouldn't take things so personally. And chances are, you've spent years apologizing for your tears. But today, I want to tell you something important. The diagnosis you've been given is wrong. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak, and you are certainly not a mistake. Psychologists would describe you as a highly sensitive person, but I prefer a different term. You are a supersensor. While most people experience the world in standard definition, your brain records life in something closer to 8K resolution. And today, we're going to explore the neuroscience that shows your sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's actually a powerful radar system, one the world desperately needs. To truly understand yourself, we need to start with your hardware. Because this isn't just a personality trait, it's biology. Research shows that your brain processes information differently from about 80% of the population. Imagine the human brain as a camera. Most people's brains record the world in standard definition, maybe around 720p. It's clear enough, efficient. It captures what's necessary without using too much mental energy. But your brain? Your brain records the world in 8K resolution. Neuroscience has identified 3 specific upgrades in your mental hardware that explain why life can feel so intense for you. 1. Your brain has a weaker filter. Neuroscientists call this low-latent inhibition. Most brains automatically ignore about 90% of incoming information to conserve energy. Background sounds, small details, emotional signals, they're filtered out as irrelevant. But your brain doesn't filter as aggressively. You notice everything. The texture of the chair you're sitting on, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the subtle mood shift in the person beside you. You process it all at the same time. Yes, this can make you feel overwhelmed, but it's also why you notice patterns, beauty, and solutions that others completely miss. 2. Your mirror neurons are highly active. Mirror neurons are what allow us to feel empathy. For most people, they help us understand when someone else is sad. But for you, it goes deeper than understanding. You actually feel their sadness inside your own body. You're not imagining it. Your brain is literally simulating their emotional state. In many ways, you're like an emotional sponge, living in a world where emotions spill everywhere. 3. You process information more deeply. This might be the most misunderstood trait. Psychologists call it the pause-to-check strategy. In conversations or decisions, you might feel slower than others. You may even criticize yourself for hesitating or overthinking. But science tells a different story. You're not slow, you're thorough. While others react quickly to surface-level information, your brain is performing deep semantic processing. You're unconsciously connecting the present moment with past experiences, predicting possible future outcomes, analyzing hidden meanings behind words and actions. You're not hesitating because you're confused. You're hesitating because your brain is running a complex simulation to choose the best possible outcome. That's not a flaw. That's high-level computation. At this point, you might be wondering something. If being highly sensitive makes life more difficult, why didn't evolution eliminate this trait long ago? This is where things get fascinating. If sensitivity were truly a weakness, natural selection would have removed it thousands of years ago. But it didn't. It preserved it. Because the tribe needed people like you. In ancient times, the majority, the less sensitive individuals, were the warriors. They hunted, they fought, they took risks, they were essential. But a tribe made only of warriors would eventually destroy itself. They would charge into danger without noticing subtle threats. That's why tribes also needed advisors. People who sensed changes before anyone else. People who noticed the storm coming before the clouds gathered. People who could tell when another tribe was lying. That role belonged to people like you. Your sensitivity wasn't a weakness. It was an early warning system. Modern society, however, is built for the warriors. It's loud, fast, aggressive. And that's why you might often feel out of place. But being out of place does not mean you lack value. It simply means the environment wasn't designed with you in mind. And yes, carrying this powerful radar comes with a cost. Because your brain processes so much information so deeply, you reach your mental limits faster. When you suddenly feel the need to shut down, or retreat into silence, or hide in a quiet, dark room, you're not being dramatic. Your RAM is full. Your system has overheated. Scientists often use a beautiful metaphor to explain this difference. Most people are like dandelions. They're resilient. They can grow almost anywhere, in sidewalk cracks or beautiful gardens. Their environment doesn't affect them much. But you are more like an orchid. If an orchid grows in a harsh, noisy, or toxic environment, it struggles. It withers. And for years, you might have blamed yourself for not being a dandelion. But research reveals something remarkable called vantage sensitivity. When an orchid is placed in the right environment, with proper light, good soil, and careful nurturing, it doesn't just survive, it blooms. And its beauty becomes far more complex than anything a dandelion could produce. You don't need to become tougher to survive the sidewalk. You need to place yourself in the right greenhouse. When you shape your life to support your sensitivity, you don't just catch up to others, you often surpass them. So here is the most important advice. Stop trying to install a tougher filter. You cannot change your biology, and honestly, you shouldn't want to. The world already has enough numbness. We don't need you to develop thicker skin. We need you to be exactly who you are. But you must protect your gift, set boundaries, honor your need for quiet. Give yourself space to recharge. And the next time someone tells you that you're too sensitive, take a breath. Smile quietly to yourself, and remember the truth. You don't have a defect. You simply experience the world in 8K resolution. And in a world that is becoming increasingly disconnected, your ability to feel deeply is not a burden. It's one of the most human abilities we have. And because you carry this high-resolution emotional radar, you may have built a protective wall around your private life. You might be someone who scrolls through social media, watches quietly, but rarely posts anything. To others, you may appear invisible, like a ghost online. But psychology suggests that this silence might not be weakness at all. It might represent a completely different kind of strength.